Elden Ring was one of the best games of all time, right behind Baldur's Gate 3. After a game so monumental and so game-changing in terms of, well, game design, you need to kind of give more of the same, right? To follow it up. Wrong! You apparently don't need to follow that formula at all. And if Sony has taught us anything, Japanese video game companies don't give up. Now, I, for one, am going to be getting Armored Core 6 upon release, and I am super excited about it. But then I had the thought, am I excited for Armored Core 6 the Souls-like? Or am I excited for what Armored Core will actually be? Because honestly, I have no idea what Armored Core is. Like, I'm starting at ground zero in terms of Armored Core lore or even past gameplay. But I've already pre-ordered it. Did I just commit to buying a game I know nothing about? Well, it wouldn't be the first time now, would it? So, I guess I should figure out what I just bought and try to figure out what I should expect from Armored Core. And I guess we should all try to do that. So let's get started. Armored Core was here long before the first Dark Souls was even a thought in Miyazaki's mind. 14 years before the first Dark Souls game released, the first Armored Core game launched. And even those early Armored Core games are far different than the current iteration Fires of Rubicon is going to be. The first game in this series, Armored Core, was this game built around corporations tasking you with jobs that benefited them. This game was super tough with no tutorial given. You even had to pay for ammunition refills, so every shot that you took meant something. The game design was based around missions that were set that didn't allow for crazy exploration or anything akin to what Souls-likes would become. Where Elden Ring or Dark Souls want to make you feel as if you're on a long journey filled with perilous trials that never seem to end, Armored Core has always been a very mission-set-oriented game, focused around building your own mech, deciding on the way you want to fight. And this ties in brilliantly with that aforementioned setting in this series. See, from Armored Core 1 through 3, roughly, the theme of barely surviving made even going into the garage to make your decisions on your mech a difficult task. Failing a mission in Armored Core 1 saw you needing to potentially sell parts you wanted or needed due to your failure, making the prospect of succeeding in your next missions lower, and the prospect of building an ever-growing debt even more likely. As you heard me right, the prospect of debt is the difficulty in AC1.
Is this real life?
Constant stress from past failures, the need to improve on your mech to take on harder jobs for bigger pay, and one slip-up setting you back immensely. However, then comes Miyazaki, hallowed be his name. The Zaki man came in and really changed things up. Miyazaki worked on AC4, his directorial debut, and this game seems to be bonkers. The speeds of enemy units alongside your own extreme mobility, enemies almost seeming to glitch as they move, and many other changes came with Miyazaki. See, he brought a style to the games quite similar to Metal Gear visually. The outlandish settings, fighting on what I think is an ocean with a thunderstorm around you, a story with a big bad main bad guy at the end, but the gameplay was the main selling point here for AC4. But though Miyazaki is the GOAT now, here in AC4, he kind of dropped the ball. The gameplay in AC4 became too simple. In older Armored Core games, the objectives varied from kill all enemies to retrieve a thing at times. It was a wide variance. However, AC4 was only kill all the enemies. And honestly, to even watch it, it was kind of boring. So, that leaves the question, what is Armored Core 6? Most likely the game is going to revolve around those same themes from the past games. You will most likely work for corporations, taking on jobs they need done for pay that you cling to desperately. From what I've seen, there's no big hint of a story in the game, so the prospect of AC6 being similar to AC4 in that respect, probably not going to happen, though the only hint I can find is the introduction of another character showing up in a mission against a boss in the game and then just kind of disappearing. So we can't really rule out a bigger overarching narrative in the game. The director, Masaru Yamamura, worked on Bloodborne and Dark Souls, and I think this may be his directorial debut. I can't really say what specifically the game is going to have in terms of story. The game seems to revolve around the same mission-oriented design. You'll complete jobs for payment. You focus around the customization of your mech, making substantive decisions on how much weight you put on, firepower, armor, and of course, what weapons you will take into the fight and how you want to actually take on enemies. However, many might be worried about the difficulty, and for others, they want the game to be exactly as hard as that original AC1 game was. The correct decision is obvious here, and Yamamura and the team seem to have landed on it. Though the difficulty will be there, the game will not be near as hard as the hardest Armored Core games to exist. A checkpoint system on death will make it to where you're not starting over completely, and the repair packs that heal your mech seem to refill upon restarting from a checkpoint. Big and grand seems to have been the words the design team wanted to guide them in their creation of like enemies and mission objectives and things like that as well. The gameplay shown to us seems to be working around big, grand opponents with several smaller units surrounding them. Other gameplay shows us moving through layers of enemies, taking out specific weapons or other objectives. Now, as far as objectives like AC1, making us retrieve certain items to bring back, it's unclear right now. We don't have a big scope or view of what kind of missions we're going to take on in this game. Armored Core 6 is not Elden Ring. Heck, I even hyped myself up on that, oh, they have to follow the Elden Ring design and implement it in Armored Core. This is going to be just like Dark Souls, right? I just wanted to make sure people had at least somewhat more knowledge of what they are going to potentially buy or what they probably pre-order. Don't let the hype mislead you into buying something you won't enjoy. I don't want that for people. Sub to the channel, like the video, or dislike it. Who cares? YouTube doesn't care what kind of engagement you get. I don't know why I'm saying all this. I was even gonna say you can leave negative comments, but I don't want that either. Don't talk about my forehead. It's really big. Don't do that, please. Please subscribe and like the video. Don't do anything I just told you to. Bye.